Let's raise up our heavenly language right now. Come on, louder, louder, louder. The future of this nation depends on you. Your children depend on you. Though they seek to arrest President Trump, we're declaring now that you arrest the enemy, arrest the principalities, and arrest those who have sought to carry out their agenda against you and President Trump in this hour.
Man, why y'all got a black man up there praying to God over Donald Trump? Look, the whole idea that Republicans always seem to have that God fancies the GOP and Satan fancies the Democratic Party is absolutely hilarious. Donald Trump is God's chosen warrior. So was George W. Bush. But that wasn't the case for Barack Obama. That wasn't the case for Bill Clinton. All of those, that has to do with Satan's agenda, right? But y'all got this brother up here preaching, talking about some arrest the principalities, arrest the foes against Donald Trump's agenda. What is Donald Trump's agenda other than parading and branding and marketing his own name? That's all Donald Trump's agenda is. And y'all sitting up here in this church speaking in tongues like any old body can't just randomly start to go, like you ain't saying nothing and you know you ain't saying nothing. And everybody who do that know that they ain't saying nothing. While they got the ambiance playing in the background and the music and the stars up on the screen, because Jesus Christ cares so much, not only about the United States, but also about Donald Trump and the GOP.
We silence the critics. We silence those that wish to frame President Trump. We silence those that wish to lie. And we say, Congress, you stand boldly. We say, pastors, you stand boldly. For one shall become 1,000. More and more shall march around the walls of Jericho. And we say, America, you shall be saved in the name of Jesus.
Like, there is literally nothing that Donald Trump can do that will turn the Republican base away from him. When he said that he could walk out in broad daylight and shoot somebody on Fifth Ave in New York City and his base wouldn't turn away from him, that is the 100% truth. Because even before he got in office, think about all the scandals he had where he just ripped people off, all the bankruptcies he had, all the people who he just didn't follow through on his word with. Then when he got in office, he was twice impeached, the first president in history, former president in history, to ever be indicted for any type of crime. And they're still behind him, and yet other people are supposed to beat him in 2024, like Ron DeSantis. Yeah, right. But it's like literally nothing this man does will turn the Republican Party away from him. So much to the point that you got people breaking down, crying in church over the likes of Donald Joffrey Trump. Let's go back to the idea of the United States being God's chosen country. Maybe there's a reason why they're always trying to ban critical race theory or anything to do with talking about the history of the United States. This country was formed, obviously it's cliche to say, and a lot of Republicans don't want to hear it, but through genocide and slavery. This land was stolen from people. 100 million people were here before Europeans settled. That's how this continent was taken over. Like, it's not, it was built through slavery. That's God's chosen land. And then segregation, redlining, just all the corporate crimes that we have, even in modern times. Look what corporate America does to the middle class and to the working class. It's completely fleeced it. No one can afford anything. Healthcare is completely unaffordable. Education is completely unaffordable. The country's drowning in debt. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. That's somehow God's chosen ideals. Where? Where? I guess that's where all these prosperity preachers are coming from, because according to them, if you are rich, you're God's chosen person, because then you can bless everybody else.
I'll take you to one very telling event, a meeting inside the U.S. Capitol with Republican Party operatives and a number of leading evangelical spokespersons. The conversation went something like this. You guys want Roe v. Wade overturned. We can do that for you. But you take the whole enchilada. You take the whole thing. You take everything else that comes with it. Because if you want Roe gone, you have to work with us. So you take it all.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and the House Judiciary Committee held a meeting to gather information around the possibility of unjust influence on the Supreme Court, specifically if religious and political groups made a significant push to overturn Roe v. Wade.
I was at the table, and I watched my colleagues nod uncomfortably, but from that point on, the community that I had served and still do made a deal with the devil.
The Reverend describes in no uncertain terms making a, quote, deal with the devil in order for the political goals of his community and shared people in faith to be achieved. Now, it's no conspiracy or secret that there are very influential groups in the United States that have firm grips on the actions of lawmakers. But the Supreme Court is supposed to be an apolitical body, one that only serves to analyze and evaluate the laws of the land as compared to the Constitution and the precedent set by it, as well as previous law. But it is also no secret that the Supreme Court houses justices with ties to shady religious cults, alleged sexual misconduct, and in marriages that those that attempted to overturn the 2020 election. So the idea that they were greatly influenced by political leaders and religious organizations is not altogether a surprising fact, just that it has to be proven before this committee.
And that deal was that we would support everything on the conservative agenda, whether or not we had conscientious conflict with it.
Republicans worked alongside the fringe right wing to see this come to be. They knew that their most reliable voting base would be those in the evangelical community, and they milked that relationship all the way until the Dobbs decision. And now everyone is having buyer's remorse. It's apparent that the religious right and those in the GOP that use Bible thumping as a political tool don't actually know or care about the nuance of the issue of abortion. When they used a one-size-fits-all approach, they signed the death certificates of women in this country. They sided with rapists. They let children become mothers. And they didn't even have the guts to stand by those decisions or to admit they were wrong. They are all just panicking because maybe, just maybe, this issue is one of many that cost them the midterms. And I know that as disgusting as that is, the GOP is not above using people as pawns in their quest for control over the government. And once they have it, do they really try to better your life? Or do they just give tax breaks to their buddies and complain until they lose again? This Reverend's testimony is a little too late, unfortunately, and we're going to see the impacts of people realizing things on the wrong side of time long after we aren't here anymore, and that's a fact.